Hi there, welcome to Replay Analysis with me, ViBE, and today we're looking at Leon doing a Terran versus Zerg in the Silver Department. We're going to see what he's doing right, what he's doing wrong. We're going to look at everything, we're going to check it out, we're going to all the shit. We're going to help this guy basically get better at StarCraft. That's what Replay Analysis is, that's what this is. Welcome to Replay Analysis. First things first, rally your command center to your wherever you're going to build a depot. You just wasted about 2 seconds right there by having it go to the middle line and then grabbing it off rather than just having it pop out of the command center where the rally point would be, having it go directly there. It's about 2 seconds of wasted time. Not that big of a deal, but why not just do it? It takes one right click. What is happening here? Okay, way too fucking early of a scout. Way too early of a scout. You're wasting so much money now. No buenos on that. Okay, we'll see what your idea of your build is. Okay, so, okay, your build's falling apart already. A little bit. Okay, okay. 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 So. Jesus. I'm fucking out of here. So. Mr. Leon. This scout is way too early. You're not going to see anything that's going to tell you shit. You're going to see nothing that is going to tell you information before if you just made a barracks go scout or something like that, that would tell you. Now, I'll explain why in a minute, but this SCV scout is really paranoid and it doesn't do anything for you. Realistically, that is going to be relevant. Now, with that being said, make sure you're always building an SCV out of that command center the whole time, and right now you are not. And make sure, depending on what you're going to do out of this barracks, we'll see. But if your plan is to go for a Reaper, your gas needs to start like right at the same time as your barracks, and your gas is 13 seconds after your barracks. This means that when your barracks is done, you're only going to have like 30-ish gas. That's a big deal. This guy is going double gas. This is an awful build by Zerg. Expansion double gas. I would honestly say in Server League 2, don't even give a fuck about what you scout. Like, don't even care. The fact that you see this guy's build and I were to ask you, what do you think he's doing? If I were to ask you realistically, what do you think he's doing? And you were to try to elaborate on what you think he's doing, and like, you're like, he could be doing this, he could be doing that, he could be doing this. I would say the only thing that Project Vast is accomplishing right now is he's sucking a lot of cock. Because his build is basically just able to do that. That's all it would do. This is the fucking worst build I've seen in a while. No pool, fast expand, double gas. It's like half tech and fucking half macro, but it does neither, really. There's no pool for the tech and there's no drones for the macro. He's building expansions for hatcheries and he's double gassing it. Jesus. My throat. Yeah. Not a good build by him. So, but I wouldn't even say you should be reading that. Who cares what he's doing? You shouldn't even worry about it. You should be worrying about yourself and your macro. And what is your plan going to be? No orbital. Your build needs to be fixed on that. There you go. You've made orbital. You keep having a little bit of downtime with your command center here and there, over and over. You're queuing up 2 Marines. You're making a second depot. You have a wall in your base. Or a hole in your wall, rather. Going for a factory. You're not making SCVs again. Like, this shit is fucking you. If I had to tell you anything for Leon, you might not think LF. I'll just call you LF from now on. Or I'll call you Leon. I'll just call you Leon. Leon. You might not realize. You might not think it's that big of a deal. But not using your command center with 100% uptime is a tremendously large deal in StarCraft 2. It's huge. If you've ever wondered why is a silver player never gonna ever beat a Masters player, it's because of shit like that. It's because you leave your buildings idle for too long and you just don't fucking build anything. So for future reference, definitely make sure you're building shit. Like, you should be working on 100% making sure you're building stuff the whole time. Don't build a building and then let it sit there. Do not let a building just sit there. Like, if you build a building, you need to utilize that building as much as possible, as close as you can to 100% uptime of production. So Like, this shit is what's fucking... That is what's screwing you over very hard. Jesus. Fucking throat. I'm so sorry for... Get this mic out of my face. I don't even need it. Sorry for the loud noises. Now, you got to be really careful about your wall too, right? This is a simple mistake. I don't think this is something that needs to be talked about too much. Just make sure you're tightening up your build in terms of where you put your walls. That just takes literal experience. Buildings, I obviously think you understand the concept of buildings need to touch buildings to become a wall. I feel like you know that. So I'm not going to explain that concept to you. But you just got to be more careful about what you're doing here, because I can already see you getting fucked over by some speedlings. Because they can just run right into your base. This is a wall. Or this is an open wall. This is not closed. You're going for a tech lab. You're going for a bunker. You're going for a factory. And let me just explain your build really fast. Your build, remember how I said your opponent's build sucks cock? Leon? I don't want to put you under the microscope too hard, okay? And I'm just going to say your build is lacking something. It could be better. Because what a build is, if you go for no expansion and you tech, your build is in the very harassment department, okay? It's in the high harassment department. And since you're making a tech lab on a barracks and a factory, this makes me think you're either going to have the ability to go for a marauder, you're going to have the ability to get stim pack really fast on 1 racks, or you're going to have the ability to switch it over and make siege tanks. All of these are not that effective at harassment. If you were going to go for stim pack, you would want to have 2 barracks, or 3 if you don't even have a command center. If you're going to go for a marauder, I ideally would want this barracks to be proxied, and you'd probably want to have more than one of them, probably like 2 barracks proxied. If you were going to go for siege tanks, you would definitely want to have a command center because it's super defensive. I don't worry about harassment right now. I don't think you should, and I think your build is... Let me ask you a question really fast early on. Have you watched B2GM series? Have you watched that series at all? Because you are breaking every fucking rule in that series at the moment in this game. You are not utilizing production, and you're not doing an efficient build. You are doing something that is wildly inefficient. Both of you are in this game.
Add-on complete.
If you don't do it, so your plan is to expand. If you were to take anything from this, I'm gonna do this whole replay analysis for you right now. But I highly recommend you go check out the Bronze GM series, because your build, I'm gonna tell you right now, compared to an efficient build, your build right now, even though nothing's attacked you, your build right now is about a full minute behind. Literally. So it's like for instance, you overemphasize a fast scout. Like you scout as you make the depot. Like the one SCV builds the depot, the next SCV, your 13th SCV scouts his base. This tells me, and then you make a bunker anyways, and this tells me that you just don't know what you're scouting, which is totally fine in Silver League. But do something efficient then. Don't do something inefficient, because making your worker rip off the mineral line before you're fully saturated especially is really fucking bad. Think about it like this. If you have 12 SCVs on the mineral line, what is 1 out of 12 percent-wise? It's probably around like 9%, right? 8 or 9%. Like 8.5 or some shit. I don't know. I didn't do that. Like something around there. You get the point. Each SCV at that point in the game represents that much of your economy. And you make SCV 13, SCV 14, SCV 15. They all get off the mineral line to do depot, scout, gas. Now, every bit counts for a lot. So if you have anything you can save that doesn't need to do whatever it's doing, you need to fucking put that boy back on the mineral line. And that scout is that thing we're talking about right now. You had that dude go across the map and scout, and what did you see? You saw 0 spawning pool, expansion with double gas, no pool. This is the worst. This is a very bad build from Zerg, and there is 0 potential for him to make units. The only thing he can make right now is drones and overlords. That's it. So the fact that this guy's mining gas like this is irrelevant. He can't even make a layer or a queen or a zergling or speed because all of this shit requires a spawning pool. And it's going to be harder for him to make the spawning pool because he has horrible income on the minerals. So the fact that you're making a bunker is irrelevant right now. But if you did it efficiently, I wouldn't care. But you did an inefficient thing, and then you make a bunker as well, which is once again making your mineral line undersaturated. So your build is just kind of fucked up right now. You fixed the wall, which is good. I'm glad you fixed the wall, but your build efficiency-wise is very far behind. Just don't even use your brain. Don't even think. Honestly, don't like scouting isn't even relevant to you right now. Because again, look at your command center. We're just going to watch the command center for the next minute of time and watch how often it is idle. Okay, you're making an SCV. You started that shit at like 320 or like 325 or something and idle. Did you make an SCV? That was like 10 seconds of idle. Because again, this is sped up speed. And then it finishes at 354 and idle. It's at 10 seconds already. That was like 15 seconds of idle again. Make an SCV and let's see if it goes idle again. And idle. Like you cannot fucking do that. You are so far behind where you should be already. You have 26 SCVs by 4.5 minutes. That is super fucking slow. The Zerg player has 20 drones by 4.5 minutes. That is even slower. You should 100% have way more than you do right now. Remember how I said it earlier? You were only like a minute behind. Your build now is about 2.5 minutes behind. Or like more like 2 minutes. You could be where you're at right now at like 2:30. Seriously. So or like a minute 45 or some shit. Like you're definitely you're just falling into the trap of you're just doing too much at once. And you're not doing enough of what's just basic and simple and required. Which is you should 100% all you should be doing is you should be doing this within the game. Literally every time. Command center's on 5, factor's on 4. That's great. Hit 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4. And you, while you're doing this, you look at the bottom of the screen and you go like this. Do I have SCVs being made? If the boxes are white, the answer is yes. 4. Do I have units being made in the factories? If the boxes are open, no white boxes in there, the answer is no. No factory units are being made. So, how do we fix that? You just fucking 5, 4, 5. Oh, I only have one white box. Make a couple more SCVs. 4. Units are still being made. Cool. 5. The SCVs are being made. Cool. 4. Units just finished. Make units. You should be like just fucking doing that. You're playing a lot of the game from down here in this command card area. Secondly, your eyeballs should be rotating when you've checked and you're like, I just checked. Now, if you have no idea how long an SCV takes, and you have no idea how long a siege tank takes, and you have no idea how long a Hellion takes to build, that's okay. You'll learn over time. But if you just started a Hellion, and like let's just say you just started 2 Hellions and a tank, well, you have some time now. You can make a mental checklist in your brain that goes, I got some time now until I have to build the next set. So you still should be checking periodically, but you don't have to worry about it right at that moment. Just same thing with SCVs. The second you make 2 of them, you don't got to worry about it like 2 seconds from now. It takes an SCV 12 seconds to make. It takes a Hellion 21 seconds to make, and it takes a siege tank about 30 seconds to make. 32 specifically. So 21, 32, and 12. SCV 12, Hellion 21, tank 32. So you have lots of time to check all these kinds of things throughout the windows of time when you're making these units, right? And when you're not having to check them immediately every single second, but you're still bouncing. But when you just made them, let's say you just made 2 SCVs and you just made tank Hellion. And now you go like this with your eyeballs. So you go from here, up, here, to the top right, and you check your fucking supply. And you go, do I need more supply? And how do you know this? A lot of players go, ViBE, what is the system or the sequence for knowing when and how many depots to make? I don't understand. Or overlords or pylons. It's the same for every race, and here's the system. You're going to need to know this kind of shit in the future to be good at StarCraft, so just do it now. Help save yourself some trouble. Commit to memory what units you're going to make in your build. What are you going to make? And this game, I imagine you're going to make Tank, Hellion, and Thor. Because it looks like you're trying to attempt a beta GM style here. Because this double factory opener looks very beta GM-y. Okay? Now, with that being said, what is a Hellion cost in supply? What is a Siege Tank cost in supply? And what is a Thor cost in supply? And lastly, how much supply does a supply depot give you? That's all you get. It's all you need to know. You don't need to know every fucking thing in the game. You just need to know those simple 4 things, because it's the 3 units you're making, and the 4th thing is the depot. The depot is universally always going to be the same. Now, if we look at it, we go, okay, Hellion costs 2 supply. That's the first thing. A tank costs 3 supply. That's the second thing. And a Thor costs 6 supply. That is the third thing. And then a supply depot gives us 8. So what are we making right now? We are making reactored Hellions, so we're making 2 at a time. That's 4 supply. And we're making siege tanks. That is 3 supply. So we're making rounds of Hellion Cyclone. 7 supply, 7 supply, 7 supply, 7 supply. But that's not all. Every round of Hellion Cyclone, we're also throwing in some SCVs. We can probably get roughly anywhere between 4 and 6 SCVs in the time that we can make a round of tank and Hellion. Like, yes, it's not perfect on every way, but we're estimating, right? It's just simple estimations. So we'll go with the top end. We'll say about 7 units of supply and about 6 workers of supply. Together, that's 13 supply. So what does that mean? It means that we should always have a supply cushion of 2 depots worth of supply at all times. So we can keep bouncing our economy, our supply up and not get supply blocked. So that means that we should always be aiming for a supply cushion that is somewhere in the range of like 15 to 20. Make it super easy on the math. So if we're at 36 out of 54, that means that if we went to 20 above that, it would be 56. Super simple math. You can just go plus 20. Easy. 36 out of 54 is basically in that range. So it means you don't have to make depots right this second. But the second you start units on these buildings, you need to make depots then. Because then your supply is going to ramp up to like in the high 40s. Because you're going to make SCV, SCV, Hellion, Hellion, Tank. SCV, SCV. By then, you're going to already be at like 44 or some shit. Out of 54, that's no longer enough. That's only 10 supply of a cushion still. So if you just don't build a depot then, you're going to block the next time you try to make units. So as long as your cushion is always around 20, you wait until you make your next round of units. And then the second you make your next round of units and that cushion is no longer 20, immediately make a depot. And you're just checking production on the bottom. Production. Check supply. Production. Check supply. Production. Check supply. And it's just literally that the whole time. You just have an idea of what the supply costs of the units you're making. This represents 7. These command centers represent 2. You get a third command center out here. That now represents 7 and 3. You get let's say you build 2 more factories right now. And let's say you put 2 more tech labs on those bad boys. And let's say now you're making 3 tech lab Thor and 1 reactored Hellion. Because at that point, it's like now later in the game. So now we got 3 command centers and 4 factories. What is that? 3 tech labs of Thors with a reactor and 3 command centers. How much is that? 6, 12, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 25. How did I get that? 3 as supply for the SCVs. That's 3. 2 supply times 2 because of reactor for the Hellions. So that's 3 plus 4 because it's 2 Hellions at 2 supply each. So that's 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. Plus each Thor is 6. And there's 3 buildings making Thor. So 6, 12, 18. What is 18 plus 7? That's 25. So if I have 25 supply cushion needed at all times, means how many depots is that? 8, 16, 24. 24 is on the low end. So probably make it safe and make 4 depots at a time. So be like, cool, we're going to make 4 depot cushions. So we're going to have a roughly, again, an estimation to make it super simple. We will be looking for you to always have like 30 supply cushion in the 30 range. Roughly about 30. Because it also allows us to have a few more SCVs pop out and a few more fucking Hellions pop out because Thors take forever. Compared. Thors are like 40 fucking seconds. They're 43 seconds. So that's... If we always make if we're not sitting at like a 40 or sorry, like a 30-ish supply cushion off of the 4 factory production, we should definitely be trying to sit there. So the second we breach into it, add more to it. Be like, oh, we need a couple more depots because we're no longer in that 30 supply cushion when I'm making everything. That's how it should always be done. And that's all you're doing. You're just making sure everything's being built the whole time and you're just checking your supply. And you're always, and then the last thing you're checking is your economy of making sure everything's saturated properly. You're just making sure that your command centers aren't sitting here with like fucking 9 SCVs on the middle line, and you're like, that's good. You got to make sure you're cranking out the right workers at the right time, because you don't want to have like 30 on this base and like 3 on this base and be like, whoops, I forgot about that. The second you hit that optimal saturation, you just rally the current command center that's currently perfect to the new base that needs saturation. And as soon as your natural is fully saturated, rally this to your third, all of it to your third. As soon as your third's fully saturated, rally all of it to your fourth, and so on and so on. You just fill in base by base by base by base. Like imagine if you had like 4 buckets of like nothing inside of them, and there was like a faucet just nonstop pouring water into the bucket on the top of a staircase, and then it just like, when the bucket fills up with water, it pours into the next one, but it still has full bucket of water, and then it starts pouring in the next one. There's overflow, and then that one fills up, and now both, like the first one pours into the second one, but the second one then pours into the third one. More overflow, and then it just flows into the next base. That's how you should be saturating your bases, not ripping off half your fucking mineral line and filling them all in again at the same time. That's really shitty. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. 25 minutes, still at 4 minutes. This is how it goes when you have a build that looks like this. This is so, like, I'm telling you right now, I could be at this point in the game 2 minutes before this. This is so far off standard. Also, you have to be really careful about spending your mule energy. You have to fucking spend you have dropped 0 mules this whole game. Up until about 5 minutes, your command center is about to be maxed out. This command center is at 5 minutes almost, and it hasn't even become an orbital yet. This is shit that is unacceptable again, and it needs to be made into an orbital, and you need to drop mules. This is so much money you're missing out on. My biggest recommendation to you, I'm going to go through the rest of this really fast because it's going to take, like, I can't really say much more because your build's already thrown off super hard. The biggest thing I can tell you to do, okay? Leon, this is for you. I've done this before. I'll do it again really fast. Legit. Like, just check it out. Watch this. Jesus. Okay. So, the whole timer thing, you know how to do this? Fucking do this. You know this? That's good. So anyone who doesn't know this, what I'm going to tell them to do is I'm going to tell them to write down workers and total supply. 2 things. 2 fucking things. Total supply and worker supply. At every single, be specific too. Don't be like, oh, it's 520. That's fine. No, be fucking specific. The more specific you are, the more it's going to help you. So stop the replay at 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute, 5 minute, all the way to like 10 minutes. And you pause it and you go, how much supply does ViBE have in the example I am trying to copy? And then that will, like, that saves you so much time because it breaks down your problems, and so specifically, because I'm telling you right now, anybody listening right now to this, whether it be through YouTube or through my stream, if you are lower than Diamond League, your problem is never going to be your micro. It's never going to be your unit composition. It's never going to be your scouting. It's never going to be how you handle engagements, and why aren't you microing this like a fucking boss. It's always going to be your macro is off every time, and you could fix your own problems if you just compared with a time trial, not with just guesstimation. Like, playing this game, if you play this game and you go like this, you go, well, ViBE makes Hellions and tanks, so am I. I'm doing the same thing. Don't think that way. A lot of people do. They're like, well, I'm making the same shit you do. What the fuck, dude? I died all-ins and you don't, but I made the same units. Your build's fucking outdated, ViBE. I'm like, is it? Because you're getting to where I got fucking 3 minutes after I got there. That's a lot of time when you're talking about a game that's 7 minutes in and you're only where I would have been at 4 minutes and you're there at 7. It's a big difference. And it's like, oh, well, I didn't realize how important it was to make sure my command center was building SCVs the whole time. Like this, dude, I'm not even kidding. If we added up how much time this one command center has missed on making SCVs, I bet this command center itself has probably missed about 90 fucking seconds already. Or like 2 minutes in the first 5 minutes and 20 seconds of the game. Because we're at 520 and we have 31 SCVs. Same with this one. Like, look, I'll hit player. It's just from 520. Okay, 520. Let's just watch for a second. Okay, we make an SCV. Now, watch. It finishes at 536. 536. Now, how long will we wait before a new SCV starts? That's 10 seconds already. 15 seconds. About 20 seconds of time where there was no workers being built. Like, this is the shit that will fucking ruin your build. And it's not even just the one time. It's repeatedly over. Let's watch the next one just for fun. We'll do it on ×4 this time. At 6 minutes and 6 seconds, 6 minutes and 7 seconds, sorry, your SCV finishes. 6:07, SCV finished. Now let's see how long it takes for an SCV to start. Much faster. That one started 6:07, it finished, and at 6:09 a new one started. So that was still 2 seconds, which is still not great. But that was only 2 seconds this time, not 20. Like, it's just that simple. Like, you have to make workers, otherwise your build is garbage. That was good. You queued it in. That was perfect. That was a good one. Like, just do that the whole time and your build would be so much better off. Now let's watch this one just for fun. 6:33. 6:34. At 6:34 until win. 6:34 until 6:53. Another 19-second window of time where there was no SCVs being built. And there is still not even an orbital in this base. That's 7 minutes almost. Economy is everything in this game. You have, like, if you play StarCraft 2 and you don't respect an economy, you will never get out of Platinum League or anything above that. You will be Platinum or below for life if you don't respect economy in StarCraft 2. Same thing with this tank. This tank is sieged in the worst location ever because what it's doing is it's effectively nullifying one of your patches of minerals. An SCV cannot fit on the left side of that tank, so what it has to do is it has to run around the tank and go to the back side of the mineral line, and that now makes that patch about fucking like 30% more inefficient than it was before. It serves no purpose for the tank to be there. The tank could literally be sitting right there instead, and it would be fine. But that is blocking the patch, so now your SCVs have to go all the way around to mine it. And here's the crazy thing: we're at 7 minutes in. We're at 7 minutes in the game. 7 minutes in the game, and this patch actually has not even been touched yet by an SCV. 7 fucking minutes, and one of the patches in your natural hasn't even been mined from yet, because you don't even have 8 SCVs to cover one SCV per patch yet. 7 minutes. At 7 minutes, you should have like 70 SCVs. And you should be fully saturated on 3 bases with a 4th base becoming saturated. So it's not interrupting the mining is what you're saying. Well, look at it. Now it is. Like, the natural did not even get saturated until the main base is like starting to lose its patches, essentially. You know, fucking, I can't tell you how fucking slow that is. If you don't saturate your natural until your main base loses its patches, you are so far behind. I just want to throw it out there and say this. The second your patches go mineral field depleted, +1 base, and you should be on 4 already. So this should be the start of your 5th base. Your 5th command center should already be now getting started. Like, that's where you're at right now. That's where you should be. And right now we're sitting on 2 bases that aren't even fully saturated yet. Yo, Close Live, thank you very much for the raid, dude. I hope you had a wonderful stream. I'm currently doing a replay analysis right now for Leon. But what's up, boys? What up, guys? Thank you, thank you.
Mineral field depleted.
You're not making orbitals at all, dude. You gotta definitely make those orbitals. They're super important.
Mineral field.
So I would just say, honestly, Leon, for you, try your best to do time trials of everything we just talked about. Like, play against AI or something if you want to. That's totally fine. Because your build now, remember how I was like 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute behind? Your build now is about 4 minutes behind. Seriously. You're on the pacing to max out at like 14 minutes.
Upgrade. Command center upgrade. Mineral field. Add-on.
I love you, Leon. And now when your natural mine's out as well, that should be your next base again, so your 6th base.
Upgrade.
You're almost maxed.
Add-on complete.
You're almost there.
Command center upgrade. Base
Okay.
is on.
You pretty much maxed out by about 13 minutes, roughly. We're estimating our number here. Roughly, you did about a 13-minute max this game, which isn't as drastic as what I quoted you earlier, where I said 14, but still, that's ridiculously late. You didn't get attacked a single time until just now with the Broodlords showing up. You could have maxed with just nice, solid, smooth macro defensively, doing nothing besides macroing. You could have maxed by probably like 10 minutes. Like 10:30. Easy peasy. And that all comes from just maintaining production. That's all it is. Just maintain production, maintain production, maintain production. And again, the trick is for anyone who's like, well, I don't know when to build stuff. When you maintain production, and that's your guideline, that's your guide as to like knowing what is and what is not good. If you can maintain production and you know you're doing that, and you're not just like, well, I missed production for the last 45 seconds and now I have a lot of money. No, that's bad. Maintain production, and when you get more money than you can spend, if you're like, well, ViBE, I have like 800 minerals in the bank right now, and it's only going up, and I'm maintaining production, add more production. That's totally fine. Add another command center. But don't do it until you can maintain production. That's all it is. ViBE, I gave you the wrong replay. Leon, I don't even care, because if this is even remotely close to your average game, you need to work on your fucking macro, dude. I'm not going to give you any advice about micro, about scouting, about multitasking. It's all macro, and it's going to apply either way. I fucking love you, dude. I'm sorry. Leon, I'm sure you could play better than this. Okay, I believe you. This isn't even the worst. Trust me. I've seen people play much worse. So don't feel like that. I'm like, this is the worst I've ever seen. This guy's build's the worst I've ever seen. Project Vast, get a coaching lesson. I'm just joking. Project Vast, if you're listening, I'm totally joking. Okay, you're fine. Oh shit, I'm such an asshole. But yo, no, for real. Okay. Leon, you're fine. Just realistically, you really need to maintain production, and you really fucking need to make SCVs. That's the biggest one of all. You have so much downtime in your orbitals. No mules are being spent. You spent mules in the main, which is cool, and your natural, which is great. But like, look at your third, or your third in main spent it, but your natural is just sitting here pretty with a full fucking orbital. And you're going to crush this guy because he doesn't understand broodlords are terrible. That's why I don't make broods, guys. That's why I stopped telling you to make broods. Ever since they buffed the crap out of a Thor.
Upgrade complete.
I mean, I guess I do tell people in like platinum and blow to make broods. It still is fine. But basically, it's just understanding the concepts of what we just talked about. You really have to never stop producing. And just know this, okay? Just know this. This is the final way to give you an idea. I hope this makes sense. I hope someone out there hears this and goes, "Oh shit. I did not think about it like that." If you stop making SCVs, there's only one reason why that should happen. Only one.
Yeah.
It means you're done making them.
ViBE, it's our anniversary. I didn't get you anything less than 3.
Yo, Supercatcher, thank you very much for the 12-month resub. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You got me a fucking... You subbed for a year, dude. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. I owe you something. Thank you. Yeah, if you don't stop... If you stop making SCVs, the only reason why that should be is because you're at 80 or the whatever number you wanted to stop at, 84. Who gives a shit? You're done. You're at that good, juicy economy. That's the only time it should ever stop making SCVs. And if you make an orbital command, that's also fine because you should be making an orbital too. That is super important because mules are like economy as well. They're vastly important. They're super, super really good. They're amazing. And then while you're doing that process where you just never stop increasing your income, because that's what you're doing when you're making SCVs and you're making orbital commands, is you're increasing the rate at which you make money. And it's like exponential. It doesn't grow linear. It is not a linear growth. Because if it was linear growth, that would mean all you had was one command center all game. You make money off of the first command center, and it creates enough money to make a second command center, and then a third command center, and a fourth command center, and a fifth command center, and suddenly you're making SCVs like fucking crazy fast. So it will ramp up throughout the process of doing this over the first like 7 minutes of the game. Then, while making money with your SCVs and your mules, all you do is you keep production rolling with your upgrades, with your depots, with your factories. And when you can't spend your money, again, a lot of people need to realize the bigger deal is not spending your money, okay? People get fucking super confused here. Everyone gets so confused at lower leagues here. It is not about spending your money first. That is not the priority. Okay? The priority is maintaining production. Because a lot of people think, oh, I didn't maintain production and I gotta spend my money, so I'll just add on 6 factories at fucking 90 supply. It's like, what? That fucking sucks ass. You're never gonna maintain production now because it's way too fucking expensive. You just need to get better at maintaining production is what you need to do. Like, I'm not even kidding. There's a lot of people out there that I feel like if I played against them in just a macro battle where it's like we don't attack at all, we just macro, I feel like I could probably max out faster off of 3 factories than a lot of people could off of like 7 factories. Like, they would build up to 7 factories before they max, but yet I'd max first. And the reason why is because their percentage uptime in the factories is like 18%, and mine is at 100. So 3 factories at 100% maintaining versus 7 factories at 18% actually calculates to 3 factories being superior. And also, I don't have to invest in the extra costs of 7 factories, so it increases the chance that I can maintain production in my 3 because I don't have to spend money in gas on shit that I can't even utilize. So, biggest priority is maintaining production. And then, if you can't spend your money while maintaining production, add a little bit more on. That's totally fine because your work account's getting out of control. That is what you have to understand as a player who is adopting the mindset of macro. It's not about spending your money. That's a byproduct of doing it. It's just what happens inevitably. But it's not, I got to spend my money and keep it low. It's, I got to maintain production. And then I got to spend my money while doing that. So, change your mindset if you think about it wrong. Anyone out there who thinks that way, don't think spend your money. That means you're winning. No, because if you build if you build a bunch of buildings and you just don't build out of your buildings, that fucking sucks. That's just as bad. Not quite. It's not just as bad. It's almost as bad, but it's still a little bit better than just never spending your money. And then finally, once you are like 190 plus. And you're about to max out, or you just did max out, that is when, while you send your timing to go attack your opponent, that is the moment of the game where you can then go factory, 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 and just throw down like 10 more fucking factories and take your factory count all the way to like 18 factories or something like that. And that's totally fine for Beta James style. Because then what happens is you're cranking out crazy economy, and you can remax. The second the fucking fight happens, you're just fucking remaxed. Army dies, remaxed. Army dies, remaxed. Every time. Because you now have enough production to make like 80 supply each cycle instead of like 40 or like 25 or something. So I hope that makes sense, that concept. And that is what that is the goal, to get everyone to understand that concept up to Diamond League. And once you're in Diamond League, I feel like you start to really understand it. Because if you don't understand it, you just lose every game. Like, Diamond players will out-macro you every fucking time if you just make all these random hiccups throughout your build. You'll never last in Diamond. You'll always die. So, I hope it helps. I hope it makes sense. I mean, you won this game either way, and the only reason why I would say you won is because, first of all, you made Thors, your opponent made Broodlords, which is not good against Thors. And secondly, your opponent's build was even... It was just super inefficient. This build was ridiculously inefficient from the Zerg, so I don't know what he was doing. Well, yeah, I hope this makes sense. I highly recommend you do the notepad thing, Leon. I highly recommend that. It'll help you a lot. But with that being said, guys, this has been, again, a silver breakdown of economy management and concepts and ideas about what the fuck you're supposed to be doing. Because I know there's a lot of people out there that if they watch even like a guide like B2GM, you might just breeze through it really fast because you're like, I'm trying to just do this quickly. I don't want to take too long. I just want to play the game. And then it just gets confusing and you're like, oh God, what the fuck am I doing? Like, this is just kind of overwhelming again. StarCraft 2 is a very difficult game. I totally get it. But hopefully the explanation I just gave makes you understand what is a priority in a simple way. It's literally just maintaining production. That's all it is. If you can just do that, your build is already going to be super efficient. And efficiency is the key to Diamond League. And then once you're in Diamond, you can do so much more. Like, you can micro, you can macro, you can multitask, you can scout, you can read builds, you can predict builds, you can have tons of game sense, you can predict movements. As you go on further and further and further, the game just becomes this big open spider web of possibilities. But for now, it's literally just the one fucking thing, and is your build efficient or not? And if it's not, it sucks dick, and you're never going to get promoted. That's simple as that. That's unfortunately the cruel bitch that StarCraft is. Efficiency is the key. And if you don't have it, learn it, otherwise you're stuck forever. Seriously. That is how it is. That's why everyone who tells you, if you ever ask any fucking pro gamer out there, or anyone who knows their shit on StarCraft, you go, hey, how do I get better? I'm in Gold League, or I'm in Silver League, or whatever. I'm in a lower league. What do I do? How do I get better? How do I play the game? And they always say macro. That's efficiency is what they're saying. They're saying be efficient, but they're saying it in a super simple way, because macro is literally, can you do it properly or not? If you can't do it properly, learn how to do it properly. That's efficient. There's a difference between shitty macro and good macro. Shitty macro is things like going, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go hatch first, and then I'm going to go double gas and no pool. That makes no sense. Because that means that double gas is like tech focused, right? And no pool is not tech focused, because you can't even tech then. It's a tech path requiring structure. And also only having like 8 drones mining minerals means that even if you could tech, you can't even spin your gas properly. So it just makes no sense. And you're wasting 2 drones early on in the game when you can't even mine the gas properly anyways, because they're just deleting themselves to make gas mines. Like, that's an example of inefficiency. Going for a tank first and then going for a command center after is another example of inefficiency. Why are we rushing the tank so fast when the goal is to play defensive macro? You know what I mean? Like, people just freak out and they think everything is possible when the last little tidbit of information I'll drop here, hopefully this resonates with somebody. Just so you guys know, don't even worry about what is capable of your opponent. Like, they could have Banshees. They could have fucking battle cruisers. I don't know. What if he's going fucking mass roaches? Who knows what he's doing? Who cares what he's doing? Because if your build is efficient, you basically just like chop the head off every inefficient build in the game. That's all it is. You could, if I was playing this game and I scouted fucking nothing, and all I did was I sat there and I went, I am making a siege tank efficiently, and I just fucking drooled out of my mouth. And I was like, siege tank. Siege mode. But I just did it efficient. It was super efficient how I did it. I made workers. I made production. I kept my build flowing the whole time. It was efficient. And my opponent does some fucking like super inefficient, like crazy proxied fucking roach all in. I'd still win. Because I'd be like, nice shit build you have there. I have 2 tanks and you have 3 roaches. I'm sorry, but 3 roaches don't win. Even no matter how much creative you try to be with those things, it doesn't work. Because your build sucked ass. Because you want to know why? The guy's probably like, all right, I want to start with 12 drones, and I'm going to run one of my 12 drones across the map to build a proxy hatch. And then I'm going to double gas and go down to 9 drones on the mineral line. And then I'm going to fucking wait to build my spawning pool. And then I'm going to wait to build my roach warren off of 8 drones. And then I'm going to take 2 drones off of each fucking mineral, or off my mineral line and put them on gas. And now I'm mining off of 4 drones. And I'm building a roach warren. I have 3 drones to make roaches. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't even know. I got 3 drones mining minerals and roaches coming. And I'm like, I got 2 tanks. Good shit, dude. Nice build. Good. Yeah, wow. 1 tank could have done the job, but I got 2. You get the job done super easy. That's the fucking thing people do. They try to do dumb shit that like makes no sense, and it's so inefficient. But they're like, hey, I'm gonna get in with this super sneaky, really fast version, and it's really not, because it's just garbage, is what it is. Just like take all your insecurities and your worries and your what ifs and take them out of your brain and throw them on the fucking ground and just go, I'll just play efficient. And you will literally get to Diamond League, because inefficiencies never win. They don't win. You'll beat everything playing efficient. Now, I'm not saying you're going to win 100% of the time, but if you actually play efficient and your opponent plays inefficient, you will win. Your chances of winning are fucking astronomically high, like a 90% range of winning. Like, you could obviously make some massive mistakes and be like, whoops, I unsieged right as he pushed me, or whatever, and you could still die, but very low chance of dying. And the beautiful thing about StarCraft 2 is once you understand and adopt that mindset, you no longer think, oh, efficient beats inefficient at high level. You just, it's like your fucking religion, or it's like your motto. It's like breathing to you. You just do it. That's just what you do. Like your average game is trying to be efficient at what you do. It's no longer a question of if it is or isn't efficient. It's just, yes, efficiency is the key. And then you can stop thinking about that, because that's just like, it's like rule number 1 in the book here of StarCraft. And you can now branch out to more things and be like, well, now I understand efficiency is better. So now I can focus on like, how do I stutter step better? Or how do I micro this better? How do I warp prism drop better? How do I harass multi-prong? How do I do these other things that are more advanced? But when you're a low level player, a lot of low level players like to just deviate from efficiency and go, how do I do all these crazy things? Like this guy over here being like, how do I do a really cool Broodlord build? I know, double gas, then expand, and then we'll make a pool after. I have 800 gas in the bank by the time I take a layer. No, the fuck build is that? It's garbage. It's like, how many drones do you have by 8 minutes? 27. Okay, back to the drawing board. Anyways, I hope I'm not picking on you guys too much. Sorry if I did. I'm just trying to make my point. But thank you very much for doing this, Leon. I appreciate it. I hope this helps you, man. Anyone else out there who is maybe becoming enlightened by what we're talking about, maybe you're like, oh shit, I never thought about it that way. Well, I hope it helps you as well. Trust me, it's the trick. It's the key that you just sooner or later you'll just be like, yeah, that's actually right. At some point, you'll if you don't believe me now, you'll believe me maybe 6 months from now. If you keep pushing for it, and you'll eventually realize that that's how to promote yourself. But much love. Thank you guys for hanging out, watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed my little rant on efficiency. But good luck. Stay healthy. Stay happy. Hope I made you laugh, maybe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. So until then, take it easy. Much love. See you guys. Peace. Goodbye.